My name is Noel Jordan, and I'm the Festival Director of the Edinburgh International Children's Festival. It's my pleasure to welcome Julie Sharkey with me here today, who is the writer and actor of An Ant Named Amy. And we've got time to spend about 10 minutes asking Julie lots of questions about how she wrote and made this incredible production that's coming to the festival in May. So my first question, Julie, I wonder if you could give us 3 words to basically describe An Ant Named Amy.
I will, absolutely. How are you, Noel? It's
Very
great
well.
to be here. Delighted to be here in Edinburgh and to be part of this festival. 3 words to describe An Ant Called Amy. Fun, it's a funny play, a little bit sad, and hopeful. There you go.
I would absolutely agree with those words. And it is moving. That would be the word that I would add if I had a 4th
That's
one to throw into the mix.
good. I'll
It's
remember. Yeah, lovely.
is very moving. I'm just wondering if you could tell everybody, where did the story come from? How did you come up with this idea?
Yes, okay. Well, a couple of years ago, I lost my brother. He passed away quite suddenly, and it was a big shock to us all, and it made me very sad. And he has 2 young girls, and at the time they were age 2 and 1. And I began to think about how a small person might begin to comprehend grief and make sense of it all. And that's where it came from.
That's actually an incredibly personal way that sometimes artists do make stories, and it's very generous of you to share a kind of a personal part of your life. So what begins as something very sad, you've made it incredibly accessible because the piece is also very funny. So how did you go about doing that? This kind of 2 processes of telling a
Yeah.
sad story by keeping it fresh and humorous at the same time.
Well, you know something, Noel, that I've discovered I do myself is if I'm dealing with something that's happened in my life that's big or whatever, I tend to um well, simplify it is it maybe not the right word, but something like that, where I just to try to understand it. And in this case, for me, it was like, what am I working so hard for? Why am I just exhausted because I'm working so hard? I'm like a little worker ant. And that's where it started, the seed. And then I just started to build on that story. And I guess I didn't set out to write a sad story or a funny one, but I guess in any story, you have all sorts of emotions. You have happy, sads, and of course, it is because she's working to forget her brother who's missing. Her little brother Andy is missing in her life. So that's kind of where it all came about and how the funny and the sad came into it.
Now, you also do an interesting thing when you are performing the story, which you don't see happen in theatre very often, where as the audience comes in, you're there as Julie. I'm assuming it's you as Julie, greeting everybody and kind of setting the whole experience up. And then at the end of the performance, you're there as well as people are leaving. I just wonder if you could tell us a little about that idea and where that came from.
Yeah, I'd love to. Like for me, I guess I just am so interested and in love with that relationship between the audience and the actor. And that space between us both is just gold dust to me. It's where the magic happens, that energy. And I suppose I do it because I want to start that, make that little connection, and let's create that little fizz so that then we step on into the show and that we're all part of the one telling of the story.
Hmm.
And I love that. So that's why I do it. Yeah.
You also do another very unusual thing in a show for young audiences where you hand over sections of the text, actually the lines in the play, to members of the audience, which is set up beforehand. I just wonder if you could tell us why you thought that would be a good idea for this piece, and how does it involve us as an audience in the play?
Well, I guess it's kind of building on that thing we spoke about, that lovely connection, that energy between the two, between the audience in the auditorium and the actors on stage or the actor on stage. And it gives I just want the story to be theirs as well, so that they're part of the telling of the story. And it's great. I feel it gives, you're more invested in it, perhaps. You have a better, you have an ownership maybe over it. You feel part of this little story that's being told as well. So that really interests me. So that's the reason. And we did this way, way, way back when we did a little work in progress presentation of this. There was all of that involved, all of that getting the audience involved. And that was a definite thumbs up from the feedback. So I thought, yeah, I want to keep this if we can at all.
It works so well. I know when I saw the performance in Ireland, way ahead of the show coming here to Edinburgh, I was just so impressed that the children in the audience really were excited to have their opportunity to speak directly to you, and they were all prepped and ready to go, even though it seemed like, when did they rehearse this? Had they just been given the text? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's lovely. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, my next question. Um, the story is told by yourself as Amy, and there's only really just, I mean, there are other characters that will appear, but it's only one person on stage. Now, was it always only going to be one person, or were we going to see, for example, the brown spider and the other characters that are referred to? Or did you just think, no, I just want this to be me and the audience?
It sort of did feel like it was just me in the audience. I think I did think play with the idea of getting other people involved, but it felt more compact if it was just one person. In actual fact, when we started it, like again, way back, it was a tabletop piece of theatre. I was sort of operating little puppets on a table in this forest on a table. So think it evolved as we went along, but it was always, I think, probably just a one person. Yeah.
Do you have, there's many characters that appear in the story. Do you have a particular character that's your favorite, besides, of course, Amy?
I do, I do. I suppose the one I knock the best crack out of is the manager aunt, because she's super enthusiastic about her work and loves her role and loves her job and her aunts that she manages. And she throws in the Irish language in her sentences. And she's based on a teacher I used to have, a very extravagant school teacher, and who used to do the very same thing. So she's the most fun. And I love the spider. I just love the spider because she turns out to be something that she's not, that she turns out to be something that Amy thought she wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that happens in life, doesn't it? Sometimes we're intimidated by people or situations, and then when we're in that environment or meet that person, it's completely different.
Absolutely. Yes. Which is why I chose like the spider to be the baddie in the play, to be the one that everybody, all ants were warned to watch out for sure.
Ah, so you did that on purpose to kind of flip our perceptions of who's the evil character.
Absolutely, because like lots of people are afraid of spiders, and as is Amy the ant. But sometimes when you face that fear in your life, whether it's an animal or a person or an emotion, a weight that's on you, sometimes it's okay. It's actually most often okay. It's not something to be feared. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And what does Amy actually learn from her meeting with the brown spider? What does she come away with?
Well, I think, the spider, although she says very little, she gently lets Amy see why she is feeling the way she's feeling. And that, the bottom line is she's working so hard because she doesn't want to think about missing her brother. And
Oh,
that, and not to worry because her brother is in all of the things that he loved, because we all know from the play that he loved leaves and he loved the forest. Um, and of course, he loved Amy. And the spider brings all that back to Amy and makes her realize it's okay. He's around. He'll always be around. Not physically, of course, but in
no.
the energy, in all of those beautiful things, he'll be there. Yeah.
And do you take some kind of learning from that yourself in your own real life situation?
Gosh, Noel, yeah, like that's it. I mean, that's why it was such a lovely little tale. It's exactly what happened to me, I suppose, in that little finding that story and going, actually, yes, there we go. It's all right. It's sad, but it's okay. We've still got this and that and all of, so it'll be okay.
What do you think, for you personally, is the funniest part of the play?
Oh, I love when she wins the Employee of the Month award, and that makes her go a bit bonkers and a bit
Very.
diva. And more people throw attention on her, the more diva she becomes, and she thinks she's the best thing since sliced bread. And yeah, so she becomes a big fat celebrity, a big juicy.
Absolutely. And it makes
Yeah.
her work really hard to try and get that award for the following
Yes,
month.
yes, absolutely. It absolutely, yeah.
So ultimately, what do you think that people will take away from coming to see the play?
I think a couple of things like I love them to kind of like love the people you love in your life,
Mm.
and also, as Andy used to say, as Amy remembers in the play, every leaf has a story if you take the time to look. So just look at the things about you and all of the lovely things. And yeah, I think that might be it.
Which
Um,
is gorgeous. It really
yeah,
is. And
yes,
and and something that we're all capable of.
yes. And also that feeling sad is a very normal thing. It's just a very normal thing as for all different reasons, big and small, and everything will be okay. Just take your time and breathe and talk to the loved ones, and all will be well.
Yeah. Now, I know this play has already been seen by many, many children in Ireland already, and it will be seen by many more children even after Edinburgh. I'm so clear of that. But I'm sure children or even your friends have shared ant jokes with you along the way. And do you
Yeah.
have a special one that you'd like to share with us today?
Oh, there's always ant jokes. Wait till I see. What do you call a 100-year-old ant? Antique,
Mm, Antique.
antique, antique.
Antique. It's perfect. Antique. I love it. I love it. I was going
Yeah,
to say centipede, but no, that's a whole other creature.
for sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Julie. This has been a pleasure to chat with you, and I hope that people watching this video just learn a little bit more about how you made the show and the reasons you made it, and help just unravel the behind the scenes story of an ant named Amy. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.